let's talk about Infinitycon Tallahassee that ended this last weekend. So as a really quick overview, if you don't already know, this was the first big offline tournament. I personally wouldn't call it a major because there's only like a couple of PGR players there, but it was clearly the first big offline tournament because people had run like locals, obviously, since the pandemic, but this is really the first big. I mean, there's 512 people, right? It capped at 512. Cola won, Ned got second, Myron got third, Kobe, the Central Florida Younglink, got fourth, Aaron and Fatality got fifth, Epic Gabriel and Mute Ace got seventh. But there is one thing I want to talk about first. Let's go into bracket. This was the first big offline tournament, right? Because I think that's important. This is the first big offline tournament. It seemed like everything was fairly safe. I did see a couple people not wearing masks. I saw a couple things of like people having their nose down, but like generally very good. But the one thing I do want to talk about is the transition from online to offline. That's the first thing I want to talk about. And it is not easy. And of course, one of the big things that was coming into this event was Jake. Got seeded for some reason 32nd, which I feel like is either simultaneously too low and too high. It's very unfortunate to see that he had to play the 1 seed in Cola. Well, let's look at his pools. Did he have any other close sets? Yeah, he almost... No, that was Cola. Cola almost lost Pair King? Damn. 2-0'd Pickpocket, 2-0'd Gutbuster, 2-0 like... So it was just 2-0s all the way till top 64. And then he lost to Cola, who ended up winning the tournament. Then he goes to losers, and then goes on a little bit of a run, beating Sisalex, who I don't know who that is, 3-1. Does it say their characters? No, it doesn't. Then 3-0'd Chunky Kong, who's another online to offline player. 3-0'd Goblin. 3-0'd Mugen, who is Hyper Kirby, the old Georgia Smash 4 Roy main, and then lost to Ned, who ended up getting second. Basically, beat two really good Roys, beat Chunky Kong, beat Sisalex, and lost to Ned, and lost to Cola. So here's the thing. Many people have been critical of Jake and how he plays in his doing well online, because he does do well online. I mean, he 2-0'd me, he's beat a lot of top players. So he's obviously beat a ton of players online. And people are like, oh my god, people are carried by Wi-Fi. But the thing is, Jake has never been to an offline event. He started getting competitive with this game after the pandemic started. So I don't know what people are expecting these people to do that have never played in an offline event. They've never had a crowd against them. I'm not expecting people that come from online to suddenly start winning tournaments, and I don't think the online players even think that. I mean, they could. I mean, I'm sure I'm sure Jake could like win locals, although he's in South Florida, and South Florida is fairly difficult. But like, it's hard. Jake, at his first offline tournament, beat a PGR player in Goblin. Granted, I think that matchup was awful. I think the matchup's super bad. And, then he beat Mugen 3-0 as well. Like, he's dominating win against Goblin. So at his first offline event ever, he got 9th, losing to first and second, losing to clearly the best player there, and in my opinion, like the second or third best player there, in two really hard matchups, because Cloud versus Steve, from what I've played, doesn't seem fun, and Sephiroth versus Steve, to me, feels like the worst matchup that he has. I don't think that's accurate, but it's the matchup that I personally enjoy the least as Steve. So, I want to kind of just talk about the expectations of online players for coming to offline, because obviously, there are a ton of nerfed offline players, even if they do relatively well, like myself, like Leo, like Light, like Mars, like DeBuzz, like all of us, basically every single top offline player, even if we do well online, we're getting nerfed because the way we play the game is different. So of course, when offline comes back, all the good offline players maybe take a tiny little bit to adjust, but then we're going to be back in full swing, right? Like, we're going to be able to react to everything. We're going to be able to figure out our setups. We're going to be moving and stuff. And so, like, a lot of us are going to do well. So getting past us, obviously, is easier online, but still, beating a PGR player is very, very impressive. And there are these crazy expectations that people have on us online players that they're going to like suddenly be winning events. And that's not fair, because the offline players, of course, are going to come back and win events because we're top players. And we're gonna miss a beat, and maybe we didn't improve as much as we could have in these last 18 months, but for the most part, the top players are going to come back and be top players and win and do really well. Like, Tweak's going to come back and dominate. Mars is going to come back and do really well. Leo, the Japanese players like Zachary and Kamame and all those players, and, T and everything. Like, T won that big Japanese event. It's just really sad to see so much negativity thrown at these online players, because it's not their fault. It's not their fault. Like, let's say Jake. It's not Jake's fault that he started getting competitive during the pandemic. And yeah, like, he plays a character that's good online, that's frustrating online, such as Steve. But also, I think Steve, 1, is still really good offline, and 2, people just aren't going to know the matchup anyway, so he's still going to get wins, but people just don't know the matchup. Like, you can get better online, for sure. I think a lot of players have improved over the last 18 months, just not necessarily as much as they would have if it was not a pandemic. If offline was back, I think the game would look totally different. But people like Epic Gabriel have got a lot better because of the online era. I think even J Mafia, who over here beat Goblin 3-2, I think he's got better in the offline era. I think Myron has grinded a lot and got better. I think Aaron has improved. I think Ned has improved. Cola was doing really well at the beginning of online, then just stopped playing it because he didn't like it. But like, there are a lot of players that have got better because of online and are going to show up. But the problem is, showing up to an event when there's 30 top players, like let's say Riptide has a ton of top players that are going, right? So if online players show up to that, I don't exactly know how well they're going to do, because they're going to have to get back, like beat and get better than the players that are already established and already doing well. And that's really, really difficult. There's a reason it's so hard to break into the top 10. I mean, as far as I remember, I want to look at the PGRs really quick. The top 10 was Leo, Tweak, Lars, Samsora, Shuton, Ally, Dabuz, Nairo, Void, Light. So there are a couple nerfs that changed this. Like, Void got dropped out. Obviously, some people don't go to events anymore. And Shuton dropped. But like, 7 of the same people are still here, being Light, Dabuz, Gluto, Mars, Nairo, Tweak, and Leo. That's insane. And if you go down to the top 20, I mean, there's a lot of Japanese representation here. So you see there's 2 new players. T went hella up. But like, it's so hard to break into the top of the game. And I don't know what people are expecting is going to happen when like offline comes back, because there's so many good players that you have to beat consistently, especially from a different region that like they're just doing their own thing. Like Japan, of course, you know, I don't think they're as vaccinated, so I don't think there's a ton of Japanese players that are going to show up to American events anytime soon. So Japan's going to start getting wins over Japan. America's going to start getting wins over America. And it's just something that's really, really difficult to overcome, because you have so many people that you have to get better than. Like, people like Leon are improving, Kome's improving, Abadongo's improving. He's doing much better than that last season. We don't know how players like Dark Wizzy, who, you know, got 3 top 8s before offline ended, or like 3, like in the same season, he like top 8'd, or no, he didn't top 8 Frostbite, but he had like a super unfortunate bracket because he lost to, I think, Leo and Meister or something like that. Like, he had a really hard bracket for like 33rd. But like, he top 8'd Genesis, he top 8'd Glitch, he top 8'd like so many things before that. I think he top 8'd Let's Make Big Moves too. Like, you have so many players that are getting better that it's so hard to break into the top of the PGR. It's not gonna happen realistically. So like, people need to temper their expectations and also be nice. Because again, a lot of these players, one, are kids, and the Smash community needs to be kinder to children, because that's just something that's important. Like Didi, for example. I saw people roasting Didi on Twitter when he went to his first local. He won that local, but people were roasting him for like how he dressed, and like, that's not cool. Like, I don't know why people are deciding to roast these people that have been in their house for a long time and finally are like, I'm gonna go back into the world, I'm vaccinated, I'm safe, and then it's just like, fuck you. Like, that's not cool. And we need to like be like, you don't have to be excited, you don't have to like be happy that a Steve player is doing well. You're allowed to like or dislike any player, but like, just be nice to people, because again, the bullying in the scene is definitely real, and a lot of players and people have quit the scene because it gets bad. Like, even to top players have almost quit in Smash 4, in Melee, in Brawl, because people are assholes. So like, we should just not, like, just be nice to them. Or just ignore them. Like, pick, right? Like, there's no point in like being rude about it. It doesn't matter if someone looks fresh as hell. The point is, we shouldn't be shitting on people for how they look regardless, because if they're comfortable in what they're wearing, they're comfortable in what they're wearing, whether it's fashion or a graphic tee. It's fine either. It should be fine either way. But yeah, like, I'm super proud of Jake. Again, did I expect him to top 8? Maybe. Again, hard bracket. Ned and Cola, like, that's rough. Like, that's just a rough combination of players. But I am looking forward to offline being back. I see that changes have happened, obviously, for safety of COVID, for safety of the scene. Like, I know Riptide, you have to have like parental guardians. If you are a child or like a minor, you have to have your parents like come to the event with you, which is cool. But yeah, I look forward to stuff, and I'll continue going over Infinitycon, a couple of other things. I just wanted to bring this up first because I feel like it's important and something that people are going to have to realize when, you know, offline becomes more prevalent and more events get announced. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe and also turn on your notifications. Okay, bye.